Alright, let's check out the timeline. Where's the new stuff? A lot is happening on the 21st. Okay, after watching Bleu Foncé, Isabella tried making small talk with Rebecca, but the latter was in a prickly mood and was not interested. On their way home, Rebecca glimpsed something suspicious sitting at the back seat of her car. Sitting at, not sitting on. Oops, skipped past it. Rebecca Gales received a housewarming invitation addressed to her parents that morning. After informing them about it, she checked Isabella's apartment and was shocked to find that she hadn't come home last night. Alright, the rest of the day slips away in a blur. Despite my best efforts in keeping this morning's events from surfacing in my mind, it sticks. In a way, everything today simply feels like a reminder. Every conversation, regardless of how casual, every topic, no matter how mundane it seems. I blame the news entirely for this. Recent happenings brought quite a few interesting stories to everyone's attention, mostly superstitious talk of death. And when locals talk about death here, anyone can sure as hell count on someone bringing up that mansion Isabella sold not a few weeks ago. Even my own students won't stop yapping about it. I think it's even worse than when it was put back up in the market. Now there are more stories and more deaths of real estate agents. If this is the world reminding me of what matters, or simply because the atmosphere around this time of the year calls for it, I'd rather take the latter. At least then I can be sure people will forget about it in favor of another set of holidays after. Nevertheless, and this may be a painful thing to admit, but listening to them is a pleasant distraction while waiting for Ashton's call. I hope he didn't forget. The school day is about to end soon.
No, that's got nothing with what I heard.
You always hear stuff. I'm not sure if half of them's even real.
No, really. Rowan knows about it. He used to be in the same class with them.
I can hear you from back here, you know.
Is that the same Rowan? That's the brother of the little creepy girl.
Whatever, Rowan. Anyway, the story goes like this. There were 3 of them. They entered the mansion on a dare, and they were all never seen again.
Oh, we saw that video.
No one knows what happened to them. Up to this day. Scary shit, man.
Cock and bull story. Calling it now.
No, you don't get it. Why don't you ask Miss Gales then? Better yet, why don't you go inside the place? I'm betting my allowance you can't do it.
Probably because there's people living there. Their talk immediately halts when I look up, all of them suddenly pretending to be engrossed in their current activity. Still, a word to put a stopper to this nonsense is needed. Creativity and imagination fostered by these stories is one thing, but reckless ideas should be corrected before anything potentially tragic comes from it.
Back to your worksheets, everyone. And I don't want to hear any talk of dares or going inside that mansion. It's private property now. You'd all better stay away from it before.
Yeah, you do not want to get caught for trespassing. Uh-oh. At the noise, the whole lot of them go silent. You can almost hear a pin drop. The look on their faces would have made for a funny picture, but that's irrelevant at the moment. If that is a student loitering around, someone's going to be in trouble.
I'll be back. If you're done, you can leave your worksheets on my desk. Keep the noise to a minimum while I'm gone, okay?
I can sense their eyes on me as I walk out the door. A muted kind of anticipation, because she's wearing those particular pants this day. Although, no wait, she wears skirts. That's... yeah. A bit unnerving, but it's far more agreeable than the feeling of being watched I've been enduring these past few days. Better be checked out by students than watched by a ghost, huh? Class is still in session for most of the rooms. In a few hours, once the final bell rings, however, this place will once again be filled with busy chatter and footfalls, an everyday cycle in itself. But for the moment, I let the silence guide me. My ears focusing on whatever sounds there are, or there will be, searching for that distinct clanging of metal. A good minute passes, and for the portion of it, only my steps echoes through the halls. And another. ... I'm about to turn around when... The sound of it halts my footsteps. It's a little muffled and infrequent, but grows louder with after each interval, almost as if someone was closed in a locker. With the hallway devoid of people, if I don't put a stop to it soon, it'll start to disturb the other classes still going on. Looking for it doesn't take long. All I do is follow the racket, and shortly I'm standing in front of a nondescript row of unoccupied lockers, or rather, occupied. Ooh, are things gonna get creepy? We're gonna open the locker and there's the ghost. And from inside one of them, sitting in the middle, comes the noise. Annoyingly disruptive now that I'm facing it. Like someone's pounding on the metal door from the inside, hoping to get out. Leaning forward, I try to get a glimpse through the horizontal slats of whatever's causing it. Because the person inside will not call out. But in this light, only darkness greets me and another round of clanging. Louder than previous. More desperate. I've heard stories before, from other schools, from a few colleagues who had to deal with it once or twice. Random clanging from the lockers. Although personally I've never encountered one myself, I can only thank the heavens I haven't yet. But
If this is another kid, some other student stuffed in a locker.
with a huff, I straighten up and study it briefly with a frown. Without delay, I reach for its handle and at once it stops. Immediately replaced by the muffled sound of a mobile phone ringing. I give the door a few raps before taking my attention away. A second. Another. When nothing or no one responds, I finally avert my eyes and I pull out my mobile. Ashton's voice greets me from the other end of the line, oddly cheerful in light of this morning's matters. Or maybe because I'm just expecting some grave or serious news from him. While I speak in a monologue while he's on the other line wondering what the hell's going on, instead I get this.
Hey, Becca.
Well, you sound happy.
I do? My voice still sounds the same to me.
There are only two things I know of that could be the reason for that tone. Sweets, or he's gotten a good lead in his case. In this case, I don't know. From the sound of it, I'm going to assume it's the former, since lately that case is all that's running inside his head. If there's ever a third one, I've never heard of it yet. It can only be one of the two.
Ignore that. How's Isabella?
Drove her home a few minutes ago. I think she's sleeping now. Sorry this took a while. Z-Man gave us the puppy eyes after we tried to leave. Had some food prepared for us, apparently. We didn't have the heart to say no.
That's all right. Is she okay now?
I'm not really sure. She didn't say anything to Zach, but she mentioned a plan to take a few days off from work.
Oh my god, and then she goes to work and she dies. Oh.
It was a passing comment before I left her, so I didn't get to ask.
Must be because of Rose's death.
Could be. It doesn't seem like it from Zach's story, though. He said she was shaking when she got there.
Shaking?
The word triggers a memory. From 3 days ago, on the way home from her little treat after she sold the mansion. I didn't think much of it at the time, but I won't lie, it scared me. The terrified look on her face, how she sounded when she suddenly screamed.
Becca? Still there?
Excuse me, I am monologuing, Ash. Just gonna have to wait.
Yeah, I just remembered something. Sorry, don't mind me.
Look, if you can talk to her, get the story out of her. That would be great. She wouldn't talk to Zach or me even when I tried.
Why aren't these people talking to each other about these weird visions that they're seeing and experiencing? I definitely would be like, okay, there was someone in the backseat of the car. That's why we almost had a crash. And then she could be like, oh my god, did it look like this? And I could be like, oh, yes, she did look like that. And then we will all gather and actually have a conversation about what's happening. Not this nonsense where no one's talking about it.
Maybe she'll speak up if it's you.
I'll give it a go, but I can't promise anything, okay? You know how stubborn she can get. But thanks for letting me know about this.
No problem. If anything comes up, just drop me a line, okay?
There's a short pause before he cuts the call from his end, and once again, I'm alone with my thoughts. But rather than answers, all I got from it are questions, more of them, one on top of the other, as if the world isn't planning to give me a break anytime soon. But that's a problem I'll tackle later. Right now, I've got students who need to be taught follies of eavesdropping. If the slightly open door and their smothered laughter from inside is an indication.
All right, enough eavesdropping. All of you, back to your seats.
Is that your boyfriend, Miss Gales? Oh, she wishes.
None of your business.
See, so flustered. He totally is. She doth protest too much. A quick scuffle follows that comment. Ah, what did I do? Oh, I hit the... If there's a retort prepared at the tip of my tongue, I drop every pretense of letting it loose on them. There's no use arguing with teenagers sometimes, boisterous as they all are. They're still my kids, though. Rough around the edges, maybe, but still my kids. Shaking my head, I head back to my classroom with a smile, but not before taking a glance at the locker again. It hasn't made a sound since.
Must be the wind.
Yes, the wind was pounding on the locker. So without another look, I leave it alone. Ah! Alright, yes, that is exactly what was going on. All in all, the entire school day ends without a hitch. It could have gone better, mind you, but with the exams nearing, getting out of work before the sun has set looks as though it's a far-off dream for now. At least until they're over, then we have the holidays to look forward to. There really are times when you simply take what you can get for the time being.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yes, that's what all those late-night Twitter hookups are for, right? All I'm hoping for is this will continue until the whole day ends. There's still that promise I made to Ashton, and frankly, the idea alone doesn't sound good. Isabella doesn't talk to them. What makes them think she'll talk to me? It's not like there's a hierarchy, is there? Just because I can handle Isabella's childish tendencies doesn't mean I can do it all this time.
Really, those two give me too much credit.
You're a teacher, you deal with teenagers all day. Not that teenagers are inherently bad, but... well... Nevertheless, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, if only because I'm also worried about her. And both Zachary and Ashton deem it important that somebody get the story out of her. Ow! Stop! Don't bite me. Here's to hoping it's got nothing to do with that letter again. I understand if she feels a bit distressed lately, but keeping that story going on for more than a week is... seriously, as adamant as she is about it, they are not taking it seriously. It's bound to get tiring at one point. Seriously, I merely don't want this to end in another argument. God willing, the cafe special will help smoothen things out. Hopefully it's another Irish coffee. After all, it's always been food with her. Or money. But mostly food. At this hour, the cafe is usually filled to the brim with people. That's the reason Isabella and I rarely ever go here during the evenings. It's simply too much of a hassle when we can prepare food for ourselves in the comfort of our homes, and there really isn't much reason to eat out lately. What with life going on a busy streak? No time for long lines. Better spend that doing something productive, yes?
Lucky there isn't one tonight.
Only a few people are idling around the counter. 4 of them, in fact, a woman in her 60s and a teenager busy with his phone. Both are just waiting to be served their orders. Ah. Yay. An opportunity for, what's his name? Luke. For Luke to hit on another one of our female characters. The other two, a posh-looking man and a child. That's the child right there, the one on the left. Whom I immediately recognize as Kylie, appear to have not yet picked anything they want. For some reason, my stare lingers at the guy. Oh gods, no. No, if we have to decide whether or not she hooks up with him, it's gonna be agonizing. I still think that's funny, the mouse in the background with a cross on its forehead. Though dressed relatively well and looks harmless, I haven't seen him around these parts before. Someone new in the neighborhood, perhaps a new flavor. Even so, there's something familiar in him. It feels like It feels like I've seen him somewhere before. That also begs the question of why Kylie was with him. Of course, the girl easily takes a liking to anyone who buys her sweets, so it's both a bit of a worrisome and unsurprising. The blonde bloke doesn't look particularly thrilled with the company, though. I tear my eyes away from them soon enough once the guy at the counter appears, ready to take my order. That, and I'd also hate to be accused of ogling strangers.
2, evening special, takeout.
He's already punching the order before I even finish. Saying my order out loud is really more formality's sake and made out of habit. He has known Isabella and I long enough that if we ever drop by here, he already knows it's always because I'm buying dinner for the two of us. I rarely visit here alone if I can help it, but Isabella can sometimes be a bad influence. Thank you, Kat, for walking in front of the screen. He gives me a small smile before leaving to prepare my order while I fish for my wallet when...
Look, you little ankle biter. If I buy you the biggest parfait they have, will you please behave?
This kid in parfaits, I swear.
I would just like 10 minutes of peace and quiet.
Clicking.
You said you'll get me some bread pudding this time.
Yeah, well, darling, they said they ran out of it. Just pick another one so we can be on our way.
Their parfait doesn't look as cute as the one my mom bought me.
Oh my god.
Parfait is just ice cream, sweetheart. It'll melt no matter how dainty it appears. In the end, it'll all look like an ugly puddle. Now come on, just pick one. It could even be the most expensive one on that list. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Oh, what I would give for someone to buy you off my hands right now.
Oh, jeez. Yes, let's discuss selling that child. It could be the new reality TV show. Sell that child. What? My whole attention instantly snaps back to them in their conversation. Jumping to conclusions isn't something I'm particularly fond of, especially when all I have are baseless assumptions, but you can't really trust a stranger these days. No one around the cafe seems to have noticed his words either. Very suspicious words. Still, I don't move. Yet. But my hand has already shifted from my wallet to the book I'm carrying. A hardbound textbook. Looks harmless, but if a situation calls for it, might be a good deadly weapon. Oh gods, yes, I know how even a non-hardbound textbook, like take one of those 1,000-page programming books, you can easily knock someone out with that. Especially if you hit them in the jaw with it. Might. I haven't gotten the chance to try it anywhere so far. Today could be the day.
But you promised.
Look, if you don't want a parfait, how about a Bonifay pie? I'm sure it'll taste just as good as any other bread pudding.
The key with children is to give them the illusion of choice. Don't give them too much of a choice. Don't say, oh, you can have anything up there. They won't be able to decide unless they already have a favorite. In this case, her favorite is gone. So you give them like 2 options. Seems to work out better that way.
I'll even buy you the entire tray. How does that sound?
It's giving her too many options.
That's not what you said before.
Well, sweetheart, adults change their minds sometimes.
You said if I come with you, you'll buy me a bread pudding, and I did, and now you won't keep your promise.
Okay, yeah, that sounds suspicious.
I want to go home. I miss my mom.
No, darling, if I remember correctly, and I have a good memory, honey. What I said was, if you come quietly with me, I might buy you one.
Even more suspicious.
The quiet part didn't happen. Though now that I'm sober, I think this is a bad idea. I should just ship you someplace else for that peace and quiet.
Okay, why does he have her with him? Why? Oh, that's it. No hesitation. Beat him over the head with the textbook, run off with the girl. In a few paces, he's within my reach, and without warning, I'm slamming the flat area of the book against his skull. What? Really?
Ow!
She actually did it. I wish it was completely, like, animated out to see it instead of just, like, reading that she did it, and then he just disappears. There's a cry of pain, followed by him instantly crouching down, hands nursing the sore spot. Almost comically, if this were a different situation and the safety of a St. Goretti student isn't at stake, I'll probably feel sorry for him. I mean, has anyone seen how thick this book is?
Get behind me, Kylie.
Miss Pink!
It's amusing how fast her expression changes from the pouty one earlier to something that of utter delight upon seeing me. But there's no time for any pleasantries, not even quick ones, because soon the man straightens and I'm readying my favorite newfound weapon for another hit. Hit him with the spine, not the flat part. Except this time, he's ready, and before I can land another one, his hand shoots up to catch my wrist in a firm hold. Which he's used to doing to women, apparently. Oh, wow, yeah, look at that face. And the look on his face.
Bloody hell, woman, what's your problem?
To say he's pissed would be a complete understatement. Had I been the weak-willed sort, I'd probably cower under this sharp gaze. That simply isn't how I roll. If he thinks he can scare me and do as he pleases here just because I'm a woman or whatever his reasons may be, he's got another thing coming for him. Like another textbook that she has behind her. So instead, I return it to him with the same intensity, with the same venom.
What's my problem? You're the one who has a problem here. Rotten bowbags like you don't deserve the freedom to run this town.
What is a bowbag?
What are you doing to this girl?
Why aren't you buying her the bread pudding?
And why is that any of your business, pray tell?
Oh, it's my business if I make it to be. Now, release me or I'll call the police.
You think that scares me, Daisy?
Why? Why does he come up with these names? Why does he use flowers?
I have a name, you sleazy douchebag.
Oh, I'm sure.
His grip of my hand only tightens when I attempt to shake it off. His tone may be dripping with anger and sarcasm, but the gleam in his eyes says it all. He's getting a kick out of this. This is his kink. Riling people up, getting on their nerves, invading their personal space, even though she was the first one to do it. He knows exactly what and which buttons to push and where exactly the G-spot is. The nerve of this person. The nerve of this arsehole. If he thinks I'm going to give in to his goading, please, he might as well just kiss his sorry behind. In fact, why not do the most sensible thing right now? Teach him a tough lesson. Oh geez. Oh geez. Oh geez. What do we do? I don't know. I shout for help? Hit him where it hurts? I don't know. It could be funny to hit him where it hurts, but really, really, really tough. I think hitting him where it hurts. Because what is shouting for help gonna do? No one in the cafe seemed to care. So we're gonna hit him where it hurts.
Mister, you have until the count of 5 to let me go and step out of my personal space.
Oh, he didn't like that. A fair warning. Fairer than any I can offer for people of his kind. I'm already being considerate. Hell, this arsehole doesn't even deserve a warning. If he doesn't listen, well, he's as much responsible for what will happen next as anyone.
Or else what? Such vulgar words coming out of that pretty mouth. A gorgeous flower like you shouldn't even be saying.
Oh my god, he is so sleazy.
Don't say I didn't warn you, Bawbag.
What is a Bawbag? I gotta look that up. Hold on. So I looked up Bawbag. I've gotten a number of different definitions for it. One was it's a Scottish term of endearment. Second one was it's a slang for scrotum. The third one was it's a Scottish term for an obnoxious man. And I also got Hurricane Bawbag, which happened in apparently 2001 and resulted in 1 casualty, but then another that says Hurricane Bawbag was a Twitter storm with 1 casualty, and then got some advertisements for Bawbag underwear. So, interesting. Seems to fit with the whole scrotum thing. I do believe the underwear was boxer briefs, so let's continue on and see how this plays out.
Love that intensity, Daisy.
Oh, you're gonna love what's gonna happen to your crotch.
FYI, I like feisty in a woman. It gives them this certain charm.
Uh-oh.
Why don't you?
5.
Uh-oh. A second of silence for this man's testicles. And then without any preamble. My leg moves in one fluid motion, delivers a swift, powerful, well-placed kick to his nether regions. Needless to say, the effect is instantaneous. He yelps, abruptly drops his hold on me, and kneels over, howling from the pain. I can see tears forming at the corner of his eyes too, though the mere sight of it prompts not an ounce of remorse from me. I would have been gentler if he isn't such a dirty little prick with an ego too big for his head. Too bad. Whether this obliterates any chance of him ever procreating remains to be known, but a part of me is already praying he doesn't ever breed after this. We have no need of more of him in this world.
You mad woman!
I warned you, you ass!
Why this is harassment, I'm telling you! Harassment!
She sexually harassed your testicles with her knee.
Then why don't you tell that to the police once they get here,
You despicable! Whatever you're assuming I am, I'll have you know it's all in your head. None of it's true. You best have that pretty brain of yours checked before that gets worse. What is wrong with you? Is this the face of someone who'd do anything suspicious?
Yeah.
Oh? You don't think a stranger luring an innocent child with promises of sweets before whisking them away from their parents doesn't warrant any suspicion? You have a very funny definition of suspicious, asshole. Maybe you're the one who should have that head of yours checked.
The kid asked me to buy her sweets. You're the one who's suspicious here.
God. Ow, cat. Jeez. Alright, so Kylie's not gonna say anything during this? Alright. No one's gonna say anything about his relationship to her?
I'll have you know, I have a wife!
Uh-oh. That much, at least, appears to have a sliver of truth to it. He even makes a show of brandishing his left hand to my face with much flourish. What does that have to do with anything? Hey. It's not a good day for cats. Sure enough, a wedding ring is there, though all that earned him is an unimpressed glare from me. Why is he going on about having a wife? I don't know. Immediately, a small part of me starts to feel sorry for whatever poor woman married this sod. Well, that's going to be an awkward party later. I don't understand why he has to bring her up either, as if the mention of her alone will magically present a solution to his problem. She must truly be a remarkable woman if she can handle a dirtbag like him.
And even my wife of all people in this bloody city, has never, I'm telling you, accused me of such a scandalous thing! You crazy woman!
Jeez. Bravo to the voice actor. Bravo.
Married or not, you're still a sleaze. Honestly, I feel...
Miss Pink, why are you fighting with my teal?
Okay, finally, Kylie. Whatever words still left to be said here dies on my tongue. The same thing goes for the sleaze. Beside us stands Kylie, gawking at us with the same curious stare she often brings with her. I know that look all too well, a precocious child through and through. She doesn't say anything further, her gaze simply moves between us, eyeing us both carefully, clearly anticipating an answer. From my experience, when it gets like this with children her age, it's a sure sign they won't leave you until you've given them an answer they're satisfied with. Lying won't do either, it has dissolved into a shouting match for heaven's sake. And did she just say Tio? Something falls straight into the pit of my stomach at that. But my tone is gentle when I finally address her, void of any apprehension, what might be the first hints of embarrassment. I pointedly ignore the latter. It can very well be just the hunger speaking.
Kylie, sweetie, do you know this oaf?
Yeah, he's Teal Loot.
What is Tio? What is... I gotta look that up now. Great. Just great. More things for me to look up. Alright, it's Spanish for uncle. Right at the moment, my brain stops. Every line of thought, every argument I still have against the man beside me dissipates in a haze. Amidst all of it, one memory gets triggered from a few days ago.
Tio? The one you mentioned before? The uncle? The guy Rowan wanted to impress? Or was that a dare? I'm sorry, I can't recall.
Well, he has good reason not to like her so much.
Is it the one who promised he'll take Big Brother someplace cool?
Yeah, the one and the same. Don't you know who he is?
Yeah, because everyone knows who he is. I sure as hell don't, darling. Because if I do, I wouldn't have let everything I've said earlier come out of my mouth.
He's my Teal Loot. Gazillionaire extraordinaire, am I? No, the fairy godfather.
The fairy godfather.
Oh, he's your godfather. That's nice.
The one and only. Did I get that right, Tio?
More than right, sweetheart. I'm sure Miss Pink here understood everything you said quite perfectly.
Whatever it is that landed at the bottom of my stomach prior has shot straight up to my face and stayed there. The heat from it slowly spreading to my cheeks and then down below, coloring my face in almost the same way shade as my hair. Ah, if only the earth would swallow me whole here and now. His eyes on me, I can feel them, jeering, mocking. I can't even bring myself to look at him. What's in there? Amusement? I doubt it. He's probably having the time of his life right now. But I know, I can hear the sneer in his tone alone when he talks. He has that smug grin on him, which I may or may not want to punch off his face at present, just for the hell of it. But damage control. I need to do some damage control before this whole thing goes south. You know what? I guess we should apologize to Luke. Oh, well, I guess I made up for it. Though it pains me to apologize to a sleazebag like him, this is my mistake. With Kylie watching us close by, I don't want to set a bad example for her, do I? I'm surprised she grew up the child she is. If anything, I want to be the role model this man couldn't possibly become for her, even though she's possessed by an apparition. Even if it means taking a few blows to my ego and stroking his insufferable one. That's what he calls his penis, the insufferable one. A deep gulp of air, a short moment to swallow my self-respect, and then I'm facing him. The words are out of my mouth in a single breath.
I'm really, really sorry, sir. I had no idea.
His smirk is impossible to miss. He's not making an effort to hide it, and even the smile is so irritatingly present in his tone. If I could slap it off him, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Now, it's an honest mistake, Daisy.
No, I really mean it. I actually thought you were... And then...
It's fine now. It probably happens quite a lot to a few people who look suspicious to you. Seems I'm one of them now. But don't lose sleep over it. Do be careful with that book, though. A little more and you would have dislodged my poor brain off my head. What would I ever do if that happens?
Oh no! Did it leave a mark or anything? If you want, we can have it checked. I'll handle the expenses if there's a need for it.
Now, what kind of man would I be if I let an attractive woman such as yourself do that? Why don't we just look at it this way? My forgiveness is coming from the utter goodness of my heart.
So full of himself. Exactly the kind of person I'll happily leave to die in a ditch somewhere. All right. Now we're talking about murdering this guy.
Of course, sir. Why didn't I think of it that way?
I know, right? But even someone as capable as you is bound to have a few lapses. No harm done, Daisy. Let's move on from this.
Well, if you're going to put it like that, then I guess there's nothing left for us to talk about.
I figured as much.
Awkward. The whole exchange is nothing but an awkward display of fake pleasantries. One thing that brings much agony to the very pride I'm willingly held back a while ago. I might need a drink later so I can forget any of this ever happened. If only that actually worked. One would have thought the time would come when I'd meet someone tougher to handle than Isabella. Miracles are miracles, I swear. Though, to my surprise, he proffers me a hand shortly before they leave. For a shake, I realize, after a long minute of staring at it. I accept it, albeit half-heartedly. But all of the goodwill that small gesture represents melts into thin air when he winks at me. Uh-oh. Winks? The rogue? The gall of this man, the scoundrel, this oddly charming and very sexual. This rogue. This Bawbag. However, there's no moment to ponder about it. Seconds later, the guy, he really enjoyed having his Bawbag manhandled like that, I guess. Seconds later, the guy at the counter waves me over and hands me a paper bag as soon as I've paid, acting like nothing happened. Cat, will you stop attacking my hand? Ow. Oh my god, I don't know what's going on with him. Can't dare put my hand near him, he bites me. Okay. I didn't read that. Did I read that? He offers me another smile before I leave. No, wait. He offers me another smile before I leave. Cat, don't you swing your tail at me. Ow. Okay, just gonna leave you to it. Normally, I return it simply for the sake of returning it, or I don't at all, with the latter happening more commonly. Oh, he was flirting with her, or just being I don't know. For the time being, I do so freely. After that encounter and the scene we've caused, seeing a friendly gesture being extended to me, albeit from a person I barely know, on a personal level, it feels like a reassurance despite bearing no promise of better days. I take what little I can of it with me as I step out into the night. Oh boy. A cloudless night sky greets me when I walk out of the cafe. Beyond the tall buildings, a blanket of stars spreads out before me. Isabella once told me that the best place to view it is some place outside the city, away from the noise and the obtrusive lights. She'd seen it once in her mum's hometown and another time in the university she used to attend. Then she asked if it's possible to try it out here sometime. Try what? Going outside? I agreed with her at the time, if only because she appeared excited at the mere prospect of it, of going outside. We made those little plans along with Zachary and Ashton. Though up until now, we never got around it. Even so, I find myself enjoying this, despite being told it's only half the experience. Half the experience of what? What is going on? What did I miss? Cloudless night sky. Blanket of stars. Okay. Whatevs. Little things, you know. Stuff you learn to appreciate when you're alone. Because at certain times you get to meet people who are unfortunately born with an innate talent to ruin the mood and the scene with their mere existence alone. For example, the very driver of the car fast approaching my direction. What the shit? Luckily, he doesn't notice me. But the fleeting moment we pass each other by gives me a brief glance at the people he's with. Oh. Kylie's sitting on the back seat with a serving of bread pudding in her hands. And beside him, it must be his wife. He takes a turn and disappears at the nearest corner. But throughout the night, that cursory glimpse of all things to bother me has left me wondering what kind of person his wife is. And more than that, is a silent prayer to the universe. I hope I don't ever cross paths with that douche again. After having such an eventful day, anyone will think nothing will surprise me anymore. Not a Freudian slip at all. But here I am, standing at the top of the stairwell, watching an odd scene unfold before me. Relief crosses my mind first, followed by confusion.
What is she doing there?
Although, given what happened this morning, the question feels a bit inappropriate to ask directly. What's important is Isabella's here. It's Isabella. Maybe it's probably before the incident at the office. Hopefully it's after, and we get to see that she survived. She does not look happy. She's sitting cross-legged on the hallway, just right in front of her room, with several papers and folders scattered about. Each of them seems as important as the next. Why she's sitting outside is a bit baffling. More than once upon giving the scene a quick scan, I spot Briar Realty's logo at the topmost area of the pages. Everything considered, it looks like a mess made by a third grader working on crunch time. The landlady will have a few things to say about this when she finds out. I have a few things to say about this myself, in fact. How dare she? Work in the hallway. But something in the calm, focused manner she holds herself at present keeps me from disturbing her with that reminder. She's going through each paper with this intensity. Her brows are furrowed, lips in a tight line, both hands moving in precise movements as she shifts through each sheet. When she finds something of note, she moves closer, nose almost touching whatever paper she's holding, but grabs her phone to call someone.
Hello. Sorry to call you this late. There's something I just want to confirm, if that's okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Thanks anyway. Not that one either.
It's a cycle. She goes through call after call, then after the last one ends, she shuffles through the pile again and dials another number. And there's nothing odd about me watching her this entire time. Is it work? Is it desperation? Pleasure? I've never seen her this engrossed with her own work before, otherwise she would have noticed my presence the moment I've reached our floor. After the 9th call, she still appears as oblivious to it as when I've arrived. When she lets out a loud sigh this time, I immediately take that as an opportunity to interrupt.
Isabella, you know the house rules here.
No working in the hallway. At once, her head jerks back and hits the concrete wall behind her with a thump and knocks her out. Yep. There's the Isabella I know, glad it's still there. I allow her a moment to nurse it before speaking again.
Becca, you're late.
Becca.
Yeah, I ran into a little trouble at the cafe. But I brought food for the two of us, if you haven't eaten anything yet.
As anticipated, she grins once I raise the bag of food I'm holding. Yet it doesn't reach her eyes. There's nothing of the cheerful glint in it this time. Just a hollow tone for the sake of being polite. Ashton's right. Something's happened. Couldn't possibly have been this whole thing she's been talking about. No. Or, her friend being murdered.
Yeah, maybe later.
Uh-oh.
I've got to finish this first. Just leave it here. I'll eat it once I'm done. Thanks, Becca.
You can't eat this here. You know how the landlady would react. Why are you even working outside? Your room's right there.
I know. Sorry. It just feels stuffy in my apartment right now.
The apparition was in there. The apparition is still in there. The apparition is taking a shower.
I'll go back inside once everything's been aired out. I promise.
Aired out?
That has never bothered you before.
Well, it bothers me now.
Oh, really? Just now? I find that hard to believe.
Yeah? Shouldn't you be happy? I mean, You've been complaining even if it's not your room. Now I know how you're feeling when it's messy, so I'm going to clean. Isn't that a good thing?
In spite of what's supposed to be good news, an exhale comes from you, drawn out and slow.
It's a good thing, Isabella. Believe me. But you're as bad as Zachary at lying. What's really going on?
She hastily averts her eyes, a surefire indicator that this is going to be one of those lengthy conversations that can possibly end with the other person angry. Again. It's one thing I'd like to avoid tonight at all costs. Still, I've made a promise to Ashton and Zachary. If she didn't talk to them, who else is she going to talk to? She keeps this all to herself, who knows what might happen.
Isabella, you can tell me.
Oh, she tried to tell you. ...
Is it about your family?
Slight movement of her lips, although a frown, it's a reaction at least. I'm getting there.
Rose?
She merely shakes her head. Just a little more.
Come on, I know something happened. I don't know if it's because of Rose, but I know it's related to her somehow. You weren't here when I visited this morning, and both Zachary and Ashton are worried about you. If you don't want to tell them, you can tell me. Does it have something to do with work? Office?
If I didn't know her, I might have missed it. She shifts then and turns purple, her fists clenching tight and teeth biting her lower lip, and there's fear. The look of terror in her is the last thing I expected to see out of everything. Her mouth trembles briefly before she opens them. She finally voices it out, the words simply spill out of her mouth, one after another. All of it. It all just came out of her mouth. I had no idea there was just so much in there. True to what I've promised her, I listen. Because this is something she's been keeping to herself, even from the two most dependable people I know. Oh my god, Kat, why are you back in my lap? The fact she chooses to tell me this speaks a lot to me.
Becca, she was there again.
Alright, finally they're having a conversation. Maybe Becca can stop denying what she's seen.
Last night? In the office?
Oh.
Boss passed me all of Rose's Lurk Load yesterday. For the Ermengarde mansion. I had to stay late to finish them all.
Did she survive? I hope she survived. I'm really hoping this isn't just teasing me. And that the whole time we're speaking to Ghost Isabella. Or Ghost Belle.
And then, when I was about to go home, I saw her. I saw her again. She was standing in front of me again last night, Becca. I couldn't get away. She was blocking the door. If I hadn't hidden myself, even if I made the tiniest noise, if she found me.
I'm going to be furious if this is not a confirmation that she survived that.
Becca, she almost did! If she saw me under my table, I think that would have been the end of it. I'm scared. I'm so scared I won't be able to do anything.
Okay, now this is finally an opportunity for Rebecca to admit what she's been seeing. By the end, her hands are trembling, her breathing comes out in rasping intervals. For a long moment, I let the silence stretch out between us, let her sobs fill it instead. But even as her soft whimpers die down, minutes later, there's a heaviness hanging in the air. Not just from her, but also from me. For my exasperation over this whole matter, for my own frustrations over her stupid superstitions, oh gods, Becca. When she could do us all a favor and grow a backbone, like she's doing. She may be young, but she's no longer that young. It's about time to put an end to this. No, don't. She can't keep going on like this. She's still got plenty of years to live out. And what if she goes home? What if we're no longer there to keep her fears in line with what's real? What would she do then? I'm more afraid for her, for what kind of imagination will do what that kind of imagination will do to her than what some imaginary monster could. Oh gods, Becca, don't do this. But with the manner she's looking at me right now, there's an expectation in it, a hope and a plea sewn together. She wants me to believe her this time. If it's like that, then what am I supposed to say now? what she wants to hear or what she needs to. No. No, Becca. No. God damn it. I had such hope. Alright, we need to be understanding. If this is what she wants to hear, it's what she needs to hear. This is what she needs to hear. Is this why you didn't go home last night? As much as I want. Good. What is up with that sassy? She does not look pleasant there. As much as I want to set her straight, a reprimand isn't what she needs right now. With that pouty face she's giving me, I doubt it'll even end well if I push it. I know her. When she wants to be stubborn, she's stubborn. There are moments when she can be acquiescing, too, times when she'll be more accepting of what I tell her, despite her inclination to disagree with it. That talk can wait. In the meantime, it'll be the ear that listens to her without judging her, without criticizing her, despite my own opinions on it.
You should have called me.
She stares at me like I've grown another head, and the laughter slips out before I can stop myself.
There? I can't do that! What will you do? Hit her with a book? You'll be dead before that happens. And...
Oh, she knows her. She knows Becca and her book.
That isn't what I'm talking about. After you got out, you should have phoned me. You didn't have to go to Zachary's.
The corners of her mouth curl up, a sheepish smile. By general definition, but this is Isabella. Her smiles are never half-hearted, never lacks her high spirits. In spite of this, I know everything's gonna be okay. Somehow. Oh gods, I hope so. After all, she's learned how to pick herself up long ago, long before we met.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I don't even remember how I ended up in Zach's place. I was in a hurry to get out of the office, and it was already late. Besides, I don't really think you'll believe me if I wake you up over something like that.
That's beside the point. True or not, there are people who will always be concerned about you. There's Zachary, but he's the first person you went to, and you didn't tell him anything. You just slept there. There's Ashton too, and me. But how do you think I'll be able to explain to your aunt or your family if you suddenly disappeared? Think about that.
Right. I'll remember that next time.
Then she grins. Playful and mischievous, a preamble to an old banter. It's still not quite there, still not quite her usual self, but with it, I know we're bound to get her back soon.
Mom.
I told you not to call me that.
I send her an elbow to her side for added measure, and she falls over in pain. But when laughter follows the familiar gesture, none of it is unexpected. This is what's comfortable. This is how we've found an equal ground despite our stark differences. So, for the moment, I accept things as they are. Afterwards, a hush stretches out before us. For Isabella, this is rare. This isn't her. Yet, in this moment, as she fiddles with the edge of another paper near her, as she hugs her knees close to herself and lets a pensive expression linger on her, it feels strangely fitting. As if this is where everything's supposed to lead to if we allowed it long ago. This tender moment. Yeah. Seconds later, the moment is broken by the sound of a door easing open and a voice begging some little peace.
How many times have I told you girls not to loiter around the hallway? It's noisy. Some people here are trying to sleep. Quiet down or go do your talking inside. I'm pinning a memo to your door the next time this happens. Millennials.
Oh my god, millennials.
Sorry, we won't do it again.
You'd better.
The door closes and Isabella starts gathering the mess she's made, carefully stacking them all in her arm. Yes, how dare millennials talk in hallways when boomers like to just leave their carts in the middle of aisles. It's a silly thing. At a loss for what to do, I help her pick them, and for the first time I get a closer look at it. Completely unintentional, of course. But it catches my attention, nevertheless, and a confused frown makes its way to my face. Why is she looking through this? I look to her for an explanation, but she merely ignores the question in my eyes, takes the paper off my hands, and finishes cleaning up. The last paper she puts on top is a letter. The letter. The one she supposedly found in the mansion was probably the root cause of this odd behavior. I shoot her a questioning look for that too. But all she gives me is a smile. 'Cause she certainly showed it to plenty of people, but yet she's still being hunted. What the hell's going on? That letter is very misleading. And in a halting tone, so completely unlike her.
Becca, I'll find a way out of this. You guys don't have to worry about me. Anyways, I should go. I'll see you later.
Where are you going?
Getting myself some food. Don't wait for me.
She bought you food. Isabella walks away before I can stop her, before I can even remind her I've brought food enough for the two of us. She quickly disappears down the stairwell while I'm left standing in an empty hallway, holding 2 bags of takeout. One of them will go uneaten tonight. No! Don't do that. Just an innocent passing thought. One that I don't dwell much on as I head back to my room. Alright, well, next time we find out what's going on and stuff. And yeah, and maybe eventually they'll start talking to each other about what they've been seeing. And then they'll find out that no, Isabella isn't crazy. This isn't her imagination. She isn't superstitious. She actually is seeing shit that they're all seeing too, of which they won't admit to it. Why do they not talk to each other? Do they not have that kind of relationship, friendship with each other, where they can talk about stuff? Baffling. I don't understand.